Taiwan's military submarine program could be in trouble as its leader steps down.
We take a look at how Taiwan's military is training its future pilots on what to do if something goes wrong.
The torch has been lit. Taiwan's athletes get ready for the Summer Olympics. Plus, coral reefs around the world are turning white. We look at what scientists are doing to help. A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Yin Khvat. The man who's led Taiwan's domestic submarine program for 2 decades says he doesn't want the job anymore. There are concerns his decision to step down could leave the country's sub-program rudderless. But officials are putting a positive spin on his departure, as John Van Trieste now reports.
Admiral Huang Shuguang helped build Taiwan's first domestically made submarine, a 20-year project that overcame many technical hurdles. Now, he wants to step down as the program's head, citing personal reasons. President Tsai Ing-wen is still considering his request. His sister, lawmaker Huang Shanshan, though, says now is the right time.
刚好也是政党轮替嘛，我觉得这个是他工作上负责任的态度啦，本来就应该跟着这个工作完成阶段性任务。
But the job isn't over. Taiwan still has 7 more submarines of the same class planned. And there are concerns that without Huang's leadership, these could be in jeopardy, with speculation Huang's whole team could be disbanded. At the very least, there's an acknowledgement that going forward won't be easy.
现在的困难远比我们过去的6年还要艰巨，还要棘手，但是它还是承接着这些重担。
The presidential office says it will create a new office charged with carrying the plan forward. It says the remaining subs will be built in 3 batches. And officials say some technical improvement may even be made.
那也许后续的舰呢会陆续再成熟，那这样呢可以把这些新的这个技术呢用在这个未来新的潜舰上面。
But if Huang's resignation gets approved, it will still be the start of a new chapter in Taiwan's quest to build its own submarines. Eason Chen and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
The country's next generation of Air Force pilots are being put through their paces. They're being taught how to survive a crash. As Jaime Ocon reports from Kaohsiung, the training is designed to be as realistic as possible.
Behind me is Taiwan's Aircrew Survival Training Center in Kaohsiung Air Force Base in Kaohsiung. It's one of the only training centers of its kind, and the military uses it to train future pilots. Inside the center is this swimming pool, which is used to help teach pilots what to do if they ever eject or crash their aircraft. Some soldiers here are hooked up to cables, and others sit in a simulated helicopter cockpit. They then splash into the water and then follow a series of procedures to maximize their chances of getting rescued. The hardest part for many here is being submerged and then twisted 180 degrees.
黑暗的过程当中的逃生，人员的心理的压力跟素质，它是需要有一定的抗压性。那我们利用这个环境的特效呢，来做一个训练，其实可以有效的提升，帮助他们做这个训练的一个成果。
Now, Taiwan's military, specifically its Air Force, is constantly scrambling and warning off Chinese warplanes that fly near its borders. Taiwan hasn't seen any major military incidents since 2022 when an F-16 pilot died in a training accident. Now, the training they're receiving here hopefully trains the aircrew what to do if something goes wrong. Ryan Wu and Jaime Ocon in Kaohsiung for TaiwanPlus.
Vice President Lai Ching-te has visited a major airbase in central Taiwan and thanked its personnel for defending the country's airspace. Lai, who is set to become president in May, said China has normalized grey zone warfare activities in the region. He said the Air Force has to be ready to respond at all times. The base in Taichung is one of the most active in scrambling fighter jets to intercept Chinese warplanes. It appears President Tsai Ing-wen has announced some news that wasn't hers to share. She's revealed the names of 2 key ministers of President-elect Lai Ching-te's first cabinet. Tiffany Wong is live for us in Taipei with the details. Tiffany, what do we know about these new appointments?
That's right. Well, Tsai just announced the new picks for both foreign minister and national security chief in a meeting with diplomats from New Zealand. Now, Tsai said that the new foreign minister will be Lin Jialong, who serves as her current secretary general, a top role in Taiwan's government. And in his new role, he'll be taking the role of top diplomat, navigating Taiwan's official and unofficial relations with key partners like the U.S. Now, previously, he served in more inward, domestic-facing roles like Minister of Transport, a role that he took until he resigned in 2021 after a fatal train derailment. And he also previously served as mayor of Kaohsiung City. Now, Tsai said that the new national security chief will be Joseph Wu. Joseph Wu is her current foreign minister. So this is another pick from Tsai's cabinet that Lai's administration will be taking. And he'll actually be returning to this role as national security chief, which he took previously during Tsai's administration to brief the president, give intelligence briefings. And he previously served as Taiwan's representative to the U.S. So both of them will be making up part of Lai's new national security team and give him these kinds of briefings.
Tiffany, is it unusual that Tsai broke the news rather than Lai, the president-elect?
Right. Well, it is a little unusual because typically it's the incoming administration that makes these big announcements of the cabinet. And Lai's team has been holding press briefings over the past week, revealing a few ministers at a time, and certainly was going to come to these ministers eventually. Now, these names have been reported in local media, and Tsai herself must have some insider insight, as these are picks from her own cabinet. But still, for her to go around the official announcement like this is a little unprecedented. And as we know, Lai and Tsai go a long way back. Lai is currently Tsai's vice president, but they do have a bit of bad blood between them because back in 2020, they were both vying for the DPP's presidential nomination, which Tsai ultimately won. So we're not sure if this was a deliberate move by Tsai or something more unintentional. But we'll wait for the official announcement by Lai's team, and we'll also stay tuned for more cabinet announcements to come.
That was Tiffany Wong. Thank you, Tiffany, live in Taipei. The United States and the European Union are expected to impose further sanctions on Iran after its drone and missile attack on Israel over the weekend. This comes after Israel's foreign minister called for more than 30 countries to impose sanctions on Iran's missile program. Israel has also called for Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps to be designated a terrorist organization. World leaders have urged restraint to prevent escalating tensions in the Middle East. Tehran says it acted in response to an Israeli attack on an Iranian consulate in Syria. It said the matter was now concluded and warned against an Israeli retaliation. German and Israeli representatives have gathered alongside President Tsai Ing-wen at a Holocaust Remembrance event in Taipei. Our reporter Rhys Ayres was at the ceremony to discover what the event means for ties between Israel and Taiwan.
The Taiwan Foundation for Democracy is hosting a Holocaust Remembrance event in Taipei. President Tsai Ing-wen is here alongside representatives from Israel, but also from Germany. Of course, the event memorializing the some 6 million Jewish people that died under Nazi rule. But it's also the latest in a series of statements of solidarity between Taiwan and Israel and the wider Jewish community.
Thank you, Taiwan Foundation for Democracy, for continuing to lead and carry the obligation to promote awareness about the Holocaust here in Taiwan. Being here together sends a strong message about the importance and relevance of Holocaust remembrance to all peace-loving nations around the world.
Earlier this week, President Tsai herself welcomed an Israeli delegation just days after Iran attacked Israel with over 300 drones and missiles. During his visit, chairman of the Taiwan-Israel Friendship Group, Boaz Toporowski, also present at the Remembrance event, spoke to how both Israel and Taiwan are democracies facing a hostile geopolitical environment. He sent a message of cooperation, also echoed at today's event.
As we are confronted with the growing threats of terrorism and authoritarianism, it is even more important that we work together so we can leave the world a better place for future generations.
Despite not having an official diplomatic relationship, Taiwan and Israel have been pursuing closer ties in recent years, including through educational exchanges and increased trade. Both have also had to face up to trauma in the past, the Holocaust, and of course, Taiwan's own white terror. Now, Taiwan is hoping that it can learn from the experiences of Israel and Germany about healing old wounds and bridging divides. Alex Chen and Rees in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
The defense chiefs of the United States and China have held their first talks in nearly 18 months. The video call between Lloyd Austin and his Chinese counterpart, Dong Jun, took place on Tuesday. It comes as the two countries work to improve ties following a rise in recent tensions between China and the Philippines, a U.S. treaty ally in the South China Sea. A Pentagon spokesperson said the two discussed the war in Ukraine, tensions in the South China Sea, and Taiwan.
The Secretary reiterated that the United States remains committed to our long-standing One China policy, which is guided by the Taiwan Relations Act, the 3 U.S.-China joint communiques, and the 6 assurances, and he reaffirmed the importance of peace and stability across the strait.
Coming up, we meet a Taiwanese athlete fighting through an injury for a gold medal.
This month's top hits on TaiwanPlus. Visit the distillery hidden inside a military tunnel and uncover the secrets behind Jinmen Gaoliang's success.
这是其他球场所不能媲美的。
Art Attack invites you to unleash your imagination and discover the limitless creativity of contemporary Taiwanese artists.
我很想找到自己的灵魂。
阿代湾沉船，它可是世界级的潜点。
Discover the beauty of Taiwanese mountains and seas in this lively reality show like never before. An anesthetist is dragged into a medical negligence case. Will he discover the truth and vindicate himself? Vibrant and original programs exclusively on TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, visit our website or follow our social media. Let's go!
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Taiwan's stock market made a strong rebound on Wednesday after falling sharply from a historic high the day before. The TAIEX rose by over 300 points by close of trade, a positive sign given the 600-point drop on Tuesday. That dip followed a recent surge in share prices that began in early March, taking the market to record highs. But the crisis in the Middle East and the US Federal Reserve's hesitance to cut interest rates have affected investor sentiment in Taiwan and other Asian markets. The new Taiwan dollar also fell to its lowest value in 8 years, something economists say could hurt local import-dependent industries. For more on the recent fluctuations in Taiwan stocks, our reporter Jeremy Olivier spoke to Chris Curone, president of TriOrient Investments.
How significant are the stock and currency market shocks that are rippling across Asia right now?
Well, first, always keep in mind that there's several factors that are working anytime in any market. I mean, all the markets in Asia are sometimes very different. So we have the impact affecting different markets differently. Some of the things that are working right now is we have rising tensions in the Middle East with Iran, sending drones attacking Israel. That could impact on, let's say, oil prices, which it has. And that could impact those economies like Taiwan that are oil dependent. Then you have also, too, the issues going on with the Fed and its potential rate cuts or lack of them this year. So that's another thing that's working here. And then finally, you have, rising possibility of trade wars reoccurring between, let's say, the United States and the EU vis-a-vis China, its overproduction or its overcapacity. So far, what we're seeing right now, though, is kind of everything still in motion. We saw the Taiwan market finish up by over 300 points today. So whatever happened yesterday or on Monday, it didn't really play over till today. So it's still kind of fluid.
Of course, from the beginning of this year until now, Taiwan stocks have generally performed better than Hong Kong's. Is the reversal of the scenario now an indication that Hong Kong's stock market is becoming more linked to China's and less connected to the broader global market?
Taiwan and Hong Kong markets are in many ways very different. Taiwan is very tech-driven. It's got a very diverse, it's kind of like the NASDAQ of Asia, like we always like to say here, because it's got so many industries, so many supply chains. The Hong Kong market's all property and financials and also tied to the China market to some extent. And right now, Taiwan is still benefiting from the focus on, let's say, semiconductor industry and also AI, artificial intelligence, where Hong Kong's not so much. And the other factor that's probably still working against Hong Kong is it doesn't look like the Chinese economy is still doing all that great.
Taiwan's currency, the new Taiwan dollar, has also fallen to an 8-year low in recent days against the US dollar. Is this kind of depreciation good or bad for Taiwan's economy?
Well, again, the Taiwan economy is kind of diversified. It's not really just an export-driven economy. It's a consumption economy increasingly, too. There's a lot of industries that benefit from a weaker NT dollar, but not necessarily all of them. And nobody goes to TSMC and says, I want the cheapest chips. And then, a weaker NT dollar is going to benefit them. Appreciation or depreciation in the NT dollar is not always going to have a big impact directly on, let's say, TSMC's orders. Demand will. So that's something that maybe some industries, like let's say the Taiwan machinery industry or raw material industries and things like that, may play an impact.
That was TriOrient Investments President Chris Curone speaking with our reporter Jeremy Olivier. All eyes will soon be on France when it hosts this year's Olympic Games in Paris. Taiwan's athletes are busy getting ready, but as Leslie Liao points out, the number of athletes to qualify so far for this year's Games is less than half the number the country sent to the last Olympics in Tokyo.
There are just 100 days left until the Summer Olympics in Paris later this year. Taiwan's Olympians gathered at the National Sports Training Center in southern Taiwan to mark the occasion.
我现在的技术跟我的身体素质，我觉得有明显的持续进步当中。那我非常期待这次2028巴黎奥运。
有3次奥运的经验，我希望这次自己能够把最好的发挥，当然最好希望能够把金牌带回来。
When Taiwan gets to Paris, it will be competing under the name Chinese Taipei. That's because of a deal it struck with the International Olympic Committee, and China objects to any attempts to compete under the name Taiwan. So far, about 24 athletes from Taiwan have qualified to compete in about 10 sports at the upcoming Games. That falls short of the last Summer Olympics in Tokyo 3 years ago. During those games, Taiwan saw 68 athletes compete across 18 sports, bringing home 2 gold, 4 silver, and 6 bronze, the country's best performance yet. With less than 4 months left until Paris 2024, there aren't many opportunities left for Taiwanese athletes to qualify for the Games, though they are still there. But even if Taiwan doesn't send as many athletes to Paris as it did Tokyo, there's still a chance that those that are going now can still come up big and make one more record-breaking performance. Joseph Wu and Leslie Liao in Kaohsiung for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan star Taekwondo athlete Luo Jialing is managing an injury ahead of her second Olympic Games. Sandy Chi found out how the Tokyo Olympic medalist's perseverance could bring her the gold in Paris.
Featherweight Taekwondo fighter Luo Jialing is full of surprises. In 2021, she seemingly came out of obscurity to win bronze at the Tokyo Olympics. Then 19, she was the youngest competitor from Taiwan to win an Olympic medal in Taekwondo in over 30 years.
比赛的当下结束，然后站上颁奖台的时候，我的心情其实都非常的完全没有想法，因为我脑中一直就告诉我自己说，我是真的得铜牌了吗？
Luo wasn't the only one surprised by her performance.
那时候真的是没有预想到她，因为太年轻了，而且又第一次打。
Although Luo's first Olympic win came early, she was tipped for Taekwondo glory from a young age. She has trained relentlessly for years, first under her father at his dojo, and now as part of Taiwan's national team, officially competing under the name Chinese Taipei.
我们有一次是在做斜坡训练，那他就有一点跑不上去的那种感觉。那当下我就在路边捡了一根竹子在后面追，然后我说追到了我就打你这样子。他是边跑边哭，但是确实跑得比我更快。
At 183 centimeters tall, it gives her a reach advantage over most of her opponents, but also means she has to cut a lot of weight to compete in the 57-kilogram division. Now, at 22 years old, the day-to-day grind of training and losing weight has taken a toll on her body.
去年我一整年参加了10几个比赛，对于我要降10几次体重，所以我的骨密度那些就是骨质其实都有比较偏低的一个状况。对，所以现在就是营养品吃很多。
Luo's health became an issue while she was competing in the World Taekwondo Grand Prix in 2023. Mid-tournament, she felt a sharp pain in her rib, but chose to fight through it.
他就跟防务员要了2颗止痛药，就吃止痛药就上去了。可那一场就完全没办法。然后后来是真的是没办法用走了下来，他就是用爬的，我们上去把他抱下来，然后轮椅推出来以后，回来台湾检查，又是肋骨骨裂。
In the run-up to Paris 2024, Luo continues to compete while undergoing treatment for her injury. For Luo and her team, the temporary agony is a small price to pay for another shot at Olympic glory.
不能不打，因为不打就没有了。就是你在这个伤势上怎么样与伤势共存。 然后还可以比赛。
Luo is determined to persevere through her injury and be in peak condition when she steps onto the mat in Paris this summer.
希望自己有更好的成绩嘛，尽可能的去把自己的心态去放松，然后去调整好，一样去用享受的感觉去这场比赛。
Grit, determination, and perseverance have been the hallmarks of Luo's career so far. It would be no surprise if these qualities carry her once more to the podium in Paris this summer. Kaohsiung and Sandy Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Marine conservationists across the globe are working to protect and revive coral reefs damaged by rising sea temperatures. Reese Ayres looks at some of the techniques being used in Taiwan.
A sea of skeletons, once an array of colourful corals now being bleached toward extinction. It's a story repeated on reefs across the world, and it's impacting local ecosystems, including the huge number of sea creatures that depend on coral reefs for food and shelter. Evidence points to rising sea temperatures due to climate change causing the bleaching. But there's hope for these reefs, as marine conservationists find new ways to revive coral communities.
We're attaching the coral skeletons on this net. It will serve as the base for the grafted corals, the corals that we want to propagate.
Carmela Sevilla, a diving instructor working in the Philippine coastal town of Baoan, dedicates her time to protecting the damaged reefs by building coral nurseries.
The nurseries, when they're created, has different kinds of corals. It has a selection of corals, and it is closely monitored. So it will actually help scientists see which corals are more resilient to climate change, and therefore they will be able to create recommendations to propagate those kinds of corals.
And it's those more resilient corals that could be the key to rebuilding reefs, as they might be able to withstand rising sea temperatures.
It will not directly help coral bleaching, but because of what we have seen on the reef, so sometimes some corals, when they bleach and then they recover, you know, they can be a little stronger than their friends, right? So you want to really propagate that stock.
Just across the sea in Taiwan, marine scientists are also taking steps to cultivate more heat-resistant corals, particularly as the El Niño effect compounds the warming of the Western Pacific, a process its cooling counterpart La Niña may not be able to counteract.
对台湾来说，下半年大概1半的几率会进到反圣婴，而现在整体的海温因为已经垫高了，那到反圣婴的时候，整个西太平洋啊，包括像菲律宾啊、台湾这一带，发生海洋热浪的几率是非常高的，也就是我们可能即将迎来下一次的珊瑚大白化事件。
Not only are sea temperatures rising, but a lack of typhoons in recent years is starving Taiwan's reefs of the cooler waters they need to thrive.
基本上一年大概会有三个台风会影响台湾。那台风经过的时候，它会把一些比较深层冷的海水带到表面上去做交换，等于是帮珊瑚做降温。
With the effects of global warming unlikely to subside anytime soon, reefs may have to rely on more resilient strains of corals to survive the drastic impact humans are having on the seas. Andy Shi and Rees for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's picturesque Xiaoliuqiu is taking action to protect its environment, as visitors to the small offshore island will soon have to pay conservation fees. Starting in July, visitors to 3 protected coastal areas will be limited to 300 a day and will need to pay around $2 for entry. The restrictions come as the Pingdong County government moves to protect the island's ecology as tourism surges in the area. Xiaoliuqiu is one of southern Taiwan's most popular tourist destinations and draws hundreds of thousands of visitors each year. Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, check out these images of the London exhibition of AI art, showcasing 14 globally renowned AI artists. I'm Yin Khvat. Take care. See you next time.
For more stories about Taiwan's fruits, follow TaiwanPlus on social media.